Let's talk about something that I know drives us all a little crazy. We're going to dive into a fascinating and, let's be honest, often super frustrating part of human psychology. That unshakable confidence some people have, even when they are completely and utterly wrong. I mean, you've been there, right? You're in a conversation, maybe even a debate. You have all the facts on your side, but the other person, they just will not budge. They are 100% certain. So, what is going on there? Well, it turns out it's not just about being stubborn. There's some serious psychology at play.
To really get it, we have to try and step into a totally different mindset. For some folks, the world isn't this messy, complex place full of nuance and all those shades of gray. No. It's seen in stark, simple terms.
This is really the foundation of the whole thing. A mindset that sees everything in absolutes. An idea is either genius or it's idiotic. A person is either a hero or a villain. This kind of black and white thinking gets rid of all ambiguity, which I guess can feel pretty secure, but it leaves absolutely no room for complexity, and more importantly, no room for the possibility of being wrong. And when you put these two ways of thinking side by side, the difference is just huge. On one side, you've got this rigid, absolute certainty that completely shuts down any real discussion. New info that contradicts what they believe, it's not just considered and dismissed, it's immediately rejected. But on the other side, you have nuanced thinking, which accepts that things are complex and actually stays open to new evidence. And that flexibility, that's the absolute key to learning and to growth.
So, what do psychologists even call this kind of black and white thinking? Well, this brings us to the very first piece of our puzzle. It actually has a name. It's called cognitive rigidity.
The best way to think about it is like mental arthritis. A flexible mind can bend and adapt when new facts come along. But a rigid mind, it just gets stuck. It holds on tight to its initial beliefs, not because of any evidence, but simply because it's kind of incapable of making that mental shift. And you can totally see how this plays out in the real world. Someone with cognitive rigidity isn't just disagreeing with you. They might be psychologically unable to even see your point of view. Complexity feels totally overwhelming, so they just retreat to the simple, familiar answer they already have. It's really a defense mechanism against a complicated world. Okay, so cognitive rigidity explains why someone might be stuck on a wrong idea, but it doesn't explain why they're so ridiculously confident about it. For that, we need the second and absolutely crucial piece of our puzzle, the famous Dunning-Kruger effect. Now, this is where things get really fascinating and kind of paradoxical. The Dunning-Kruger effect shows us that, weirdly enough, having very little knowledge about something can actually make you feel like an expert. People with the lowest ability in a subject, well, they often can't see their own blind spots because they lack the very knowledge they would need to recognize their own incompetence. This sentence just captures the entire concept perfectly. See, true expertise often comes with a healthy dose of humility, right? An awareness of how much there is still to learn. But when you're at the bottom of the knowledge ladder, you can't even see the rungs above you. You feel like you're already at the top of the mountain.
So let's put it all together. We've got our two key ingredients: a mind that can't change and a mind that doesn't even know it needs to. And when you combine those two, you get a powerful, self-reinforcing cycle. A perfect storm.
This right here is the formula. It's pretty simple, actually. You start with that rigid mind that just defaults to simple black and white answers. Then you add in the Dunning-Kruger effect, which creates this powerful but totally false sense of expertise. And what's the result? Someone who is not only wrong, but is aggressively, unshakably confident that they are right. And this really brings us to the most important takeaway of all. The real barrier here isn't a lack of information. It's a lack of self-awareness. When someone is trapped in this cycle, just throwing facts at them won't convince them. Their mind is fundamentally closed to anything that contradicts what they feel they already know with absolute certainty. So, as we wrap this up, I'll just leave you with this question. It's pretty easy to see this pattern in other people, but the real challenge is to look for it in ourselves. Acknowledging what we don't know isn't a sign of weakness at all. It's the very first step toward true wisdom. Something to think about. Thanks for joining me.